Hello, YouTube. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to my live. Thanks for talking with me. Especially thanks for returning if you've been here recently. I had a lot more viewers of the live recently than I have in past times. So thanks, YouTube. Even though out of like hundreds and thousands of viewers, I still usually only get like one or two good viewers. But still, that's great to ever get any good viewers. And I decided I want to be a lot nicer to even the viewers who are trying to troll and harass and be mean. And the reason I want to be nice to them is I realize they've been through a lot lately. They just had their like Jesus figure killed. What's his name? Charlie Kirk. And then they got all enraged about it. So it was bad enough having this guy that they like get killed. That's got to be upsetting if they actually liked him. And then they had they got all enraged, and all their leaders and influencers and stuff were all super enraged, and being angry is, really bad state of mind and really unhealthy, makes you feel really bad. And then they were all enraged at the leftists because that's who their leaders told them did it. And then they were all, I'm sure it's got to be disappointing, and a lot of different emotions come with finding out that it was you that you did it. It was one of your own MAGA types, one of the Trump mutineers. So that's part of why I've been wearing this shirt for my lives to talk about this lately. Hi, Funny Republican. Oh, Funny Republican. Nice to see you again. I appreciate you coming around to my comments and asking for lives. Recently, I was on vacation when you were asking me for lives, but I've been doing a lot lately, so I'm glad you finally caught up. I was just explaining that my shirt is because the Republicans found out that it was themselves. That, they're the ones who killed Charlie Kirk, and so that's got to be really hard. I'm trying to express sympathy. That's why I titled this "Generously Consoling Charlie Kirk's Widows," because I can um, show this empathy and love for the people who are so full of hate. But I mean, it's not like they're people who are full of hate. Somebody filled them with hate. They're people like everybody else. They could be filled with love instead. Funny Republican says, "Odd time for a live. Good thing it's tomorrow, Saturday." Yeah, tomorrow is Saturday here, and or it's early Saturday morning, before sunrise. But yeah, I wanted to just express like kindness. Like you know how I get a lot of Republicans and trolls and stuff in my comments. I just wanted to express kindness because honestly, I realize they've been through a lot. Like somebody they really cared about, Charlie Kirk, got killed, and that's got to be upsetting to begin with. And then all their leaders and influencers and fellow MAGA Trump Putin types were really angry. They were very angry at the left because Trump was telling them to be angry. And that's really stressful to spend a whole day being really, really angry, and then they find out it was one of them, which has got to be like disillusioning and disappointing. And maybe you're still angry, but you can't be angry in the same way. And so I just wanted to be nice since I do tend to get a lot of Republican MAGA types in here, because YouTube sets it up that way. Like I remember Facebook used to do the same way. And TikTok used to be different, which is why it was so popular. And then I don't know, I think they got captured a little bit. They are overreacting, to be honest. Well, they're not just overreacting. I mean, people can act how they want, although they shouldn't act out like in violence or anything. But they're dramatizing, or they're putting on airs about it. They're trying to make a big deal about it because they really want to, start a lot of trouble. Honestly, that's part of their plan to start a lot of trouble. So thankfully, um, I thought it was all planned. I thought that the way Trump had his speech about it prepared, and the way apparently Netanyahu and Trump tweeted about it on the same minute, which was, I just heard that from Sammy Obeid, the comedian. But, he had pictures of it. And anyway, that was interesting. And then that at the end, that minute was maybe before it happened or something. Like that minute was like really early on. So anyway, one of those things that also ties in with the five dancing Israelis that I just heard the story about from CJ Wiedemann. Well, yeah, Charlie Kirk disrespected him. Like, hey, Charlie Kirk's a terrible, terrible person, or was a terrible, terrible person. And there's not, like I said, I'm generously consoling his widow. is the title of this, or his widows is the title of this live, because I have empathy for people like his other victims and stuff. But like he was just one of his victims. He created the conditions. Well, he's a victim of Trump. Like, let's be real. Like, if people are mad about Charlie Kirk, they have to decide, are they mad at Charlie Kirk or mad at Trump, like, or Putin. If you want to take it to the next level, Israel attacked Qatar, defending. Yeah, what's up with that? Like, I got pulled from one of the only times, maybe the only time, a video of mine. I made 53,000 videos on YouTube, and the only time they pulled one that I can remember was just recently, after I thought it was Israel killed the prime minister of Yemen. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I just got the country wrong. But I heard that Israel killed the prime minister of Yemen. He disrespected MLK and like all black people, all trans people, all women, white people. I mean, the fact that he wasn't saying things supposedly against white people as a person, of white persuasion, like, he made us look terrible. Charlie Kirk was one of the, Charlie Kirk, and if you can consider Trump white, he's oranger than me right now. But if you can consider him white, like Charlie Kirk and Trump and Putin make white people look the worst. So yeah, he really was bad for everybody. And then the idea that, you know, like, I'm not putting it past this Tyler Robinson person. Like, it kind of fits. Like, that kind of tracks with what you expect. Um, Although myself and a lot of people, I saw a lot of content from people whose first conclusion was Trump probably did it. Trump is gaining from this, or trying to make the most of this, it fits in with Trump's agenda if Trump did it. And I could talk more about that, but I mean, let's give credit to Tyler Robinson if he really did do it. That he did it for his reasons, which apparently were even more fascist than Charlie Kirk's. I'm not sure exactly how to read that, but it seems like some people are saying, Charlie Kirk wasn't fascist enough for him, or like, I guess my intuition, if we're going to accept that he really was the shooter, he really is the killer, my intuition about it is that he was upset that Charlie Kirk was giving Trump a pass on the Epstein files, or was saying he was just going to trust the Epstein files. Although, not to his credit, but I thought Charlie Kirk seemed different when he said that. Like, he seemed like because usually he's really boisterous. I thought he seemed like Charlie Kirk seemed like um, he was, scared, or like had been threatened. Funny Republican said Israel attacked a car to car. Well, they're not defending themselves. Like, that's why changing the name to the Department of War is really fascist and weird. Hayseed, who I remember, I believe, says, but I don't remember Hayseed well. But Hayseed, like, I'm doing a different thing now. I'll still extract the curses from you, and I'll curse Netanyahu with them, and I'll extract the curses from you, and I'll curse Trump with them, and I'll extract the curses from you, and I'll curse Putin with them. But I'm actually just going to be really nice to you guys, because I realize you lost somebody you love or you cared about. That's tragic to have Charlie Kirk shot. From your perspective, it's tragic, and I'm sorry for you to experience that. That's sad, and that's hurtful and harmful. And then you had your leaders and a bunch of you getting all riled up and angry for a day. Being really angry for a day is really hard too. And then you found out it was one of you, and that you did it yourselves. The call came from inside the house, and then you're like upset, disappointed, or whatever. You're not as angry. I don't know if you're still angry, but just be angry at Trump, honestly, and you'll know how we feel, how we've been feeling for 10 years now. Anyway, Funny Republican says, excuse my sentences and grammar. I'm sleep deprived severely. Well, get some rest. Please talk to me some more while you're here, because I enjoy talking with you. But get some rest. I may have to get some rest too before too long. It's already been about 10 minutes on the live, but I just wanted to be consoling to the people who often come into my live. I'd much rather talk to people who don't really want any more Trump. But Net and YouTube doesn't seem to find those people for me too often. And since I get so many of these Republican types, these fascist types, I feel like I should just want to express sympathy for you guys. I mean, I'm not a Trump-Putineer sympathizer, so I don't usually express sympathy for Trump-Putineers. But just realizing that, in some cases there are real people behind, their keyboard um, warrior statements and stuff. And I feel like you guys have been through a lot. If they killed Charlie Kirk and you care about him, and then you spent a whole day being mad at leftists unnecessarily and wrongfully, and then you realize it was one of your own, and it's got to be a like series of shocks. Hayseed says, "Why would I be mad at the best president we've ever had?" Trump's kind of the Antichrist. He's really not good, but I'm not going to go through explaining that to you because it's just bad to be focused on that. I'll tell you whatever you need to know, but like the concentration camps he's making, the kidnapping people, and all the stuff he does to kids, kidnapping kids, and all the other stuff he's previously done to kids, and he's probably still doing to kids. It's bad. And usually I kind of rub that in people's faces, and I'm just mad at you guys, but I'm not going to go down that route today. Because, as I said before, I just want to be extremely sympathetic. Like, not sympathetic to you as Trump-Putineers, but sympathetic to you as the opposite of Trump-Putineers, MAGA, the opposite of MAGA. I want to be sympathetic to you as humans, which you haven't been, but you also haven't been treated as, including by Trump and your other masters and stuff. And I realize it's got to be really hard going through having Charlie Kirk shot. If you gave a shit about him, then it's got to be hard to have that dude shot and care about that. And then spend all day being mad at leftists and then find out you're wrong to be mad at leftists. And you should be, mad at yourselves and mad at, what's his name? Charlie Kirk himself and Trump especially and Putin especially for creating these conditions. I don't even blame Trump as much as I blame Putin. He's just doing what Putin's planned to destroy our country. Anyway, thanks for being here. This cat has shown up at this time. Hope everybody's having a nice night. I do want to promote my general ideas of automatic citizenship for everybody that ICE contacts, and we need a pathway for military and National Guard to quit until Traitor Trump is gone, and then come back without any penalties. And then that would, I think, as more and more people quit, you should still pay them to stay home, pay them what you would have paid them if they'd been stayed in. But I think that would put enough pressure on people to get rid of Trump. I also saw a very encouraging video from supposedly a military guy saying, don't lose faith in the military in case, I guess, maybe they have to coup. Deport the deporters. But I'm not going to talk to you guys about that. In fact, I might shut it down. Funny Republican says, thoughts on open borders and migration. Yes, I'm for open borders. Like, I don't have any problem with migration. I've recently driven across the country and flown across some of the country. And driven across the country. Sorry, this cat's making it uncomfortable. And having done that, there's so much space here. It's incredible. Like, it's a lot of space. Just look at a map sometime and see where people are like actually living and all the space between that. Not that people need to live in the spaces between, but just that there's so much space and so much resources. Like, yeah, we should just not only invite more people to come live here, but we should have, show how prosperous that is, and then help that prosperity in other countries too, so people don't feel forced to go to other countries just to have good lives. Yeah, I'm all for migration. Nation of immigrants, remember America? Trump, Hayseed thinks that Trump is going to finish his term. I don't think so. I think he'll be gone for one reason or another a lot earlier than that. I don't like Hilarity Brebo, but he said what he said. You do know that Tyler Robinson is a MAGA Trump-Putineer. He's one of you guys. But he's like a troll. He's like a troll and a right-wing type. And that's why I figure it must be disappointing to you to have Charlie Kirk shot and then spend all day mad at the wrong people. And then just being mad in general is a bad feeling. And then you get all disillusioned and find out that it was really you, although we told you that the whole time. Yeah, he is a Trump-Putineer. Hayseed is a Trump-Putineer, so is Hilarity Brebo. Larry Brebo has a straight up Russian flag next to his name, and he's going to be all pro Trump. Like, it's not a secret. I heard a great interview with Reality Winner on NPR. She has a new book about called I Am Not Your Enemy, and that interview was really good. She was the one who leaked the documents about how the Russians hacked the 2016 election and so on, and they put her in jail for leaking that for years, I think. 4 or more years. Hayseed says, well, you're a dumb fuck, so who cares what you think? Well, I do. I care what I think. I think that just because my type of content is usually suppressed and 52 people is actually a lot of people to see my content, or whoever, whatever you are, thank you for being here. Um, it's, I think it's important ideas. Like some of my biggest ideas are automatic citizenship for everyone ICE contacts, just to make it backfire on them. Well, I mean, to help the people out, of course, but to also make it backfire in the system and make them stop contacting people. But automatic citizenship for everybody they've already contacted, and then compensation on top of that for people that they've done things to. What did we say about every single assassin, Larry Brebo? No, he just is a right-wing guy. Like, the reason we say that all the assassins and shooters and stuff are right-wing is because they are. They always are. I mean, there might be an exception here and there, but they always are. Like, I made a meme about it with a bunch of white ducks walking down, and it said, how do you know the next shooter will be a Trump Trump-ooteneer or MAGA too? You know, because they always are. Funny Republican says, fuck Putin. Yeah, Putin's the worst. Putin's the one making Trump like this. Trump was the one making Charlie Kirk like this. I mean, Putin may have been making Charlie Kirk like that directly as well. Although I think it was maybe through Israel. But Putin's the one making Netanyahu like that. Like, Putin's running all these terrible people, and we just need to stand up to him and stop him. Hilarity Breva says, liberals are living in alternative universe. Yeah, I could just mute him. I'll mute him just for fun. I muted his, I'll mute him for 10 seconds, and I'm just, whatever. Hayseed says, well, thankfully your thoughts add to shit and piss. Whatever, I mean, all I was really doing was, I titled this Consolation for Charlie Kirk's Widow. Like, I would generously console Charlie Kirk's widow. See how nice I'm being? But also for you guys. Because I know it's always going to put these Trumper types in here. And I'm like, oh, you guys are probably sad about Charlie Kirk. And then you're probably been mad all day because they told you to be real mad at leftists. Try to see how many of you guys would try to go out and shoot yourselves or something. Which is terrible. They shouldn't have done that to you. You shouldn't have had to feel that way. And then you found out it was one of your own guys. And you shouldn't have to feel all disappointed too and whatever. Hey, she said, words fall from your mouth like shit from ass. Shit from ass. That phrasing is so Russian. It's like, I say it in Russian because it's fun to say Trump Putin's comments in Russian. But think about that. That's totally Russian, right? Words fall from your mouth like shit from ass. Okay, Funny Republican says, which country would you like to visit? Would I like to visit? Which country would all of you like to visit in chat? And we'll talk about those countries as well. Because there's a sweepstakes you can win a trip to Croatia, which I've never thought about before, but I would like to visit. Japan, though, China and Japan have always been tops of my list to visit. Ireland and Scotland, because some of my family came from there. I think some of my family came from the Pacific Islands as well. So that might be part of why I have in my mind the idea of go to China or Japan. It might be ancestor stuff from, like, who knows, Philippines or something. I really don't know. But I've always wanted to go to China and Japan. I've always wanted to go to Ireland and Scotland. And I kind of would like to go to Mexico and Canada lately too. Um, But yeah, I'd like to visit America, like America before Trump started ruining it too bad. Okay, Jonathan O'Bannon says, why add labels to Republicans or Democrats? Why not just come together as Americans, stand up to what is going on in today's society? Well, we can do that. Like I'm not at all opposed to teaming up people who want to identify as Republicans, who are Republicans. But I think that's a good reason why they call them MAGA Republicans, or I call them Trump-ootneers. Like, you got to be able to disown Trump at some point. You got to be able to betray or cut Trump off or let Trump go at some point. He's not American. Like, he's anti-American. He's anti-Christ. He's very bad. He's very anti. Funny Republican says, I would like to see Chile in the Andes range. I did a project on Chile when I was Chile. I don't know exactly how to say it. Sorry. I heard him on BBC calling it Brasilia. I realized people call things different things in different countries. They call it Brasilia. We call it Brazil. I would like to go there too. I'd like to go to lots of South American countries. Chile and the Andes range. I did a project on Peru, actually, when I was a kid, in the same area. Funny Republican says, Jonathan, there's no resorting with Trump or Putin ears. Yeah, there's no reasoning. Yeah, I mean, they're like Nazi zombies, like Nazi Zionists. This rhetoric killed Charlie Kirk. Can't comment. Well, you're welcome. I mean, honestly. But no, I'm trying to be sympathetic. I'm trying to be not sympathetic, but consoling. I want to be consoling to you guys because I realize the reason you're so hateful is because, like everybody, you're missing love, and these people have like given you a place to belong in hatefulness as a substitute for love. And it's like, no, just find real love instead. And your family, your community, or in somebody to be in love with, or I want to just express general love for you and say, look, I hated that guy, but I'm sorry you lost somebody that you cared about. Like, that's just basic human stuff. Like, basic empathy stuff, the stuff he was against, but still, like, it's sad that you lost somebody you care about. I'm sorry. And then it's sad that your leaders and everybody tried to make you really mad to try to get you to go out and kill people. That's really sad and wrong and terrible, and you shouldn't have had to go through that either. And then it's sad to find out that you're wrong about that and that it was really one of you guys. Spider Dijon says go to bed. Spider Dijon seems to have, no, joined 8 years ago and has 0 subscribers. Never mind. Can't comment. Your people did that and did that. Did what? Do what? Who are my people and did what? What did we do? Okay, Hayseed's just joining in the conversation. Thank you, Hayseed, for talking to us without being weird and trolly. I want to see Scotland and Rome before I die. I want to see Scotland. Rome sounds cool too. What if we ended up on a trip to Scotland and Rome because we became friends instead of enemies? Let's not be against each other. I have no ill will towards you guys. I feel like I do have ill will towards you guys often because we get into it because you're always spewing stuff and it's always making me mad. Right now I'm trying to be very like calm and comforting and loving to people who are just people like me, just because you've fallen victims to some bad ideologies and networks of really bad people. That's, I should feel sorry for you and try to help you out. And there is help. There's a better way to be. You don't want to end up like that Tyler guy or like that Charlie guy. Funny Republican says, which state do I live in? I'm in Colorado. Unless you don't. Oh, yeah, I don't mind. People post an address in my comments all the time. Like, seriously. People, like, seriously harass me because, it's what they do. I hope they're getting paid for it at least. But, I do think it's stupid and sad when Putin pays all these trolls and puts all this effort into all these troll networks. I mean, it's effective. Like, he got the presidency out of it. He got all these, like, world leaders out of it. But it's sad that, for one, none of those trolls are going to defend Moscow against, like, a Ukrainian march on Moscow or something. None of those trolls are going to protect him, like, physically. They've been protecting him by protecting his interests around the world. But it's all going to crumble ultimately. They don't have any truth behind them. And you need truth for any, like, good rulership. Basically, it's like Putin's got this house of cards, house of lies, all these, pawns and Trump-Putin yapping and stuff online are a major part of that. They add up to a major part of it. But then they're wrong, and they're going to get disillusioned, just like Tyler Robinson did, or just like, people who like Charlie Kirk are going to start thinking about it. It's going to start to click that, like, look, these people don't care about you. You're going to need to try to help the other people in your groups, in those groups, come back to being American again. Stop with all that BS Trumpy shit. It's very anti-American. And being anti-immigrant is a big part of it. Just to go talk to immigrants and be like friends with immigrants or something. Hayseed says, will there be some interesting, spirited conversations? For sure. Yeah, let's all have good conversations. I'm glad to read your comments. I won't even read them in Russian unless you're being weird, and then I will read them in Russian accent. Jonathan O'Bannon says, how do you feel about the gun violence in USA? I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a libertarian. Well, I won't be rude. I usually call them incel-libertarians. To me, libertarians are Republicans, are MAGA. I mean, they're all kind of wrapped up in the same thing. It's great that people distinguish that you're like, I'm not like that. But, I mean, and lots of Democrats are even part of the same thing. Like, just, it's a slippery slope, I guess is the way I'll put it. But I do believe in lots of Democrats who aren't like that. I do believe that we just have to give credit to the Democrats. If you have a problem with the Democrats, like, let me know what they are and I'll explain them. But I'm against gun violence. I was actually super against guns in general. Like, I'm just not a guns person. But I've come around to feeling like, okay, I can understand people want guns. Like, some of my friends have guns, and it's just like, I do think that there's a whole gun like culture that's really weird, and that's also part of the whole Trump thing. That's really weird and bad and unhealthy, not just, just unhealthy. I think, Charlie Kirk is like a symptom and a cause. He was one of the causes and one of the symptoms of that. Hayseed says, Putin paying folks, I need a new tractor, how much you paying? I don't think he's paying in tractor money. Stop Gaza genocide. Thank you, Funny Republican, for reminding me of the important things to talk about. Because that might be why they killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, again, it might have been Tyler Robinson, which is still because of Trump. Trump's the one who created the conditions that would make Tyler Robinson want to do that, ultimately. It's still Trump's fault, even if he didn't have anything directly to do with it. But Israel was threatening him. Like, Tyler Robinson could just be a fall guy, because Israel, the real Israel hitman, whoever it is going to get away with it. It's not that hard to have two different people dressed up in a suit, if they even coordinated it like that. I don't know I haven't seen, did he produce the Converse and the shirt and stuff, Hayseed says, I kind of like the Russian accent you do. I kind of like the Russian accent. You do it well. Yeah, I like reading Republican stuff in Russian accents, but I do it somewhat to be antagonistic, or I get upset, and it's a way to, like, lighten the antagonism. Cat's throwing up. I get upset. I do it to lighten the antagonism, and to lessen my anger and aggression. But I just, today I'm like, I'm not being angry. Like, I don't feel like I'm sympathizing. Like, I'm not sympathizing with your beliefs, but I'm sympathizing with you, with you as human beings. I'm sympathizing with what you're going through as human beings. Because it's sad and wrong and bad. People shouldn't be getting shot, and then you shouldn't feel like you lost somebody you care about. That's sad, no matter who it is. It's sad to feel like you lost somebody you care about. And then it's extra sad to have your leaders and other people around you telling you to get super mad at leftists about it, especially when you find out that that's wrong and that leftists didn't have anything to do with it, and that, that spending a day being mad and then being disillusioned, like, to me, that's a whirlwind of a lot to go through. And I'm sorry you guys are going through that. But back to Funny Republican's point. Stop the genocide in Gaza. Like, we have to do that. Like, Trump lying about being able to stop that, or wanting to do anything to stop that. He lied about wanting to do anything to stop that. The Israel's genocide in Gaza. is part of how he won the election, or it's the majorest factor. I mean, if Kamala Harris had just been able to say, the one thing that's different between me and Biden is I want to stop this war, she would have won. That was it. And maybe they weren't even trying to win. I think she kind of was, but maybe just didn't have that power or that leeway or something, that confidence that she could say that. But anyway, Trump was going to make it worse and did make it worse. And when he recently said, the Ukraine war is the last one, it's the last one we have to stop. No, it's not. But when he said that, it shows he was never thinking about Gaza. That was never really his agenda. It was, enough, he could say it enough to try to win the election, to try to win some support, to try to draw over supporters that would have otherwise supported Kamala. And that's how they lost the election, or as I said many, many times, Kamala and Biden traded a landslide for a genocide. And they traded that landslide for a genocide and Trump. I mean, I was just saying they traded a landslide. They would still win, but they would win, in a closer race if they hadn't done the genocide. But no, they traded it for genocide and Trump. And Netanyahu did that. And Netanyahu made sure to continue the genocide as long as possible, to not accept any deals or anything, not just to hurt Biden and help Trump, but also, of course, to help himself. And then, the angle of did they kill Charlie Kirk? Just, if you're going to be mad about Charlie Kirk getting killed, you should at least consider being mad at Netanyahu and or Trump and or Putin. Because if one of them was the most responsible for it, then be mad at the people who actually did it. Or as Sammy Obeid recently said, this will be the second 9/11 Israel did or knew about. Knew about is a little bit more. Knew about in advance. Am I religious? Jonathan O'Bannon says, yeah, I'm the Church of Judas. Check out the hashtag Church of Judas. I'll get right back to that if we don't have any other questions. But Hasty says, the boys did. I don't think he cares who did it. Which boy? Charlie Kirk? Greenwich. You have an interesting name. What would have happened if Jill Stein won? I was actually so much promoting Jill Stein when it was Hillary versus Trump versus Jill Stein. I made a meme comparing Jill Stein to Jesus. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm thinking more she's like even like Biden. I think even Biden could be, corrupted by Russian influence because he never arrested Trump. Like, do you see what just happened to Bolsonaro? They just gave Jair Bolsonaro 27 years in prison, like he should die in prison. And they could have easily done the exact same thing to Trump because they both did the exact same thing because Putin wrote both of these plans. It's almost like Putin had his puppet in USA and his puppet in Brazil, who they called Trump of the tropics, do the exact same thing in order to rub it in our face that he was mastering both of them. Like, do some of y'all get that? Do some of y'all see what I'm talking about? It's J6 and J8. In America, it was J6. In Brasilia, it was J8. What would happen if Bernie Sanders won? I think that's a lot more realistic. Bernie Sanders did win the primary, so if they hadn't cheated him out of the primary, it would have been Bernie Sanders versus Trump. Bernie Sanders could have won that easily. Yeah. What would happen if Bernie Sanders would have won if we never went down the Trumpy road? But we're not here to switch over to Universe B, although let's do it if we can. Sorry, I'll get my Spider-Man meme back on the screen. I was getting too intimate with you guys. Oh, because I'm trying to read all your comments. I should have brought my glasses. Kirk is presently in flames. This food sucks, says, I'm happy as fuck. Dude, with you. Like, I'm really here for you guys. I just don't expect any of you, real Americans to show up in the live. Like, I get so many Trump-Putineers, so many MAGA Trump-Putineers, that I don't expect any real Americans to show up in the live. So thanks for being here. This food sucks. Please check out my content, comment on my content. We'll stay in touch. Jonathan O'Brien says, do you believe there's a hidden entity that performs the actions of the Republican Party in order to push their initiatives? I mean, Putin, besides Putin, or that Putin is also representing, if you're talking about, some type of phantom menace, like in Star Wars, Putin, to me, is controlling all of it. I can just see it really clearly comes from Putin, including the shooter thing. Before Tyler Robinson turned himself in, there was a Putin KGB, a Russian propaganda lie going around about a trans girl named Sky Valadez. And this was promoted by 4chan trolls to begin with, but then it was picked up by the WWE, or by somebody who's like doing stories about the WWE, by the body language expert, by all these YouTube channels. I saw it on multiple channels. And you can tell, you can smell it, you can feel how close this network is to Putin, to the KGB. And they had this plan ready to go, which is why you think, well, they probably also knew about, when they were going to kill Charlie Kirk, because they had this plan ready to go to blame this poor trans girl. And they had this stuff about her song that she wrote and about her band, which I'm like, we should at least make her band famous and make sure she's protected and supported and gets rich and famous off of this, because she didn't do anything other than she was the target of their anti-trans agenda that they already had ready to go when they shot Tyler Kirk, which is like, why did Trump and Netanyahu tweet at the exact same time, which is apparently too soon? According to Sammy Obey, the comedian, I didn't check the times, but they said 3:02 was when the tweets went out, which is apparently too soon. Anyway, that there's a hidden entity. Back to your question about a hidden entity. I see Putin so clearly. I never understood, because I have a positive impression of China. So I've never understood why Xi would let Putin do all this terrible stuff, like rein him in, stop him. But it really kind of falls on Xi. I mean, if Xi's more powerful than Putin, he's at least powerful enough to be in a position of restraint right now instead of in a position of doing all these genocides. And Putin, to me, is doing both a genocide here in America, he's doing one in Ukraine, and he's doing one in Israel and in Gaza. And, if he's doing all these for Xi, then Xi would be the shadow person behind that. And that really disappoints me, because like I said, I like to have a positive opinion of China. It's one of the places I would like to visit the most. But there could be someone like Xi or somebody else like him, or him and other people that are behind Putin in that way. If you mean, is there like an alien force? I think aliens are benevolent, but could be. Is there like an evil god? Kind of. I don't know. I don't think that there's really any true spirituality on that side. There's no real spirit. We have the goddess on our side. The gods that are on their side are fake and dangerous. Kamala. What did I say? Why didn't I say Kamala? Didn't I say Kamala right? Kamala. If you've heard people say Kamala a lot, it's because they're racist. But Kamala is how you say it. As far as am I getting it flipped around now? Anyway, Hayseed says, no, none of the above should be an option in voting. Well, if you have ranked choice voting, like they're going to vote in Mamdani, but you don't want to list Cuomo. You just want to list Mamdani. If you have ranked choice voting, then you get your first, second, and third choice. It's interesting. Jarago says you need to be institutionalized. So they seem like a fascist. Gen X Josh says, bro's messed out, bruh. Hayseed says, hard time learning to read as kid. Now can't read because I'm half blind. Oh, dude, well, you seem to be typing really well. I'm glad you're making do. I'll read out the comments to you, so, because I enjoy reading the comments for the lives and respect that people took the time to write something. It's all Putin, says Jirak Ghost, trying to mock me. But it is all Putin. I mean, what has not been Putin? Here, I challenge you to that debate. You guys like Charlie Kirk and his debate style? I challenge you guys to debate me on this. What has Trump ever done that's not something Putin would want done? That doesn't help Putin, or doesn't really help Putin? Especially when you think about if Putin wants to destroy USA, what's Trump ever done that hasn't done that? Okay. Hayseed says, don't matter who gets elected. Same shit going to happen. We just vote on who's getting blamed for it. I don't think so. I mean, like, Obama did give us Obamacare. It's not as good as it could have been because we wanted to elect him for universal health care. But then they try to dismantle it and take it away. I mean, like, they fought over that. They fight over whether or not we get health care. And they just took it away again, Or they're about to take it away again with what Republicans and Putin and stuff are doing now. Jonathan O'Bannon says, what do you think is incentivizing Putin to push global conflict? I think Putin is stupid, okay? From my perspective, Putin has control of our Supreme Court. Putin has control of Trump. Putin has control of our Congress, Senate. Putin has complete control of the American government. And America is a very powerful, like rich country and stuff, very influential, powerful, all this stuff. And while he's in control, instead of like locking in that control or trying to like profit off of this country, this powerful country, all Putin wants to do is destroy America because we destroyed USSR, so he has to destroy America, you know? Like he might be happy if America was like the South and if it's America was like 3 or 5 different countries or something like that. I don't know. Like he's an idiot. Like all I'm saying is if you had control of the whole freaking country because you were Putin, wouldn't you want to just profit off of that and like make your control better and stronger and almost to make the country better, not better and stronger, but to make your grip on the country stronger and make the country stronger in the world because you benefited off of it because you were in control. He doesn't even want that. He just wants to destroy America because of some weird, you know, he wants to restore the USSR. That's why he's invading Ukraine and all this different stuff. Or he wouldn't mind taking over Europe too, I guess. He's already taken over America, but instead of just being taken over, he just wants to destroy us. It's really, I've always felt that way because what he's doing through Trump is very damaging to America. Just look what they did to the USAID, to the programs around the world, which is what they call our soft power, like our influence all over the world. He just destroyed all that with Doge and Elon Musk. Greenwich says in India it's pronounced Kamla, like Kamla or Komala, and I guess it's an Indian name. It means I thought it would be Kamala. I thought it would be Kamala in Indian too, because I thought it would be like a Sanskrit pronunciation, but I don't know. I haven't been to India. Mark Shankil Young says, God bless Charlie Kirk. I don't think so. I mean, sure, you can say that. Gen X Josh says, you tell me what Putin has done. Putin just attacked Poland. Putin just attacked us. Putin just attacked Poland, which means Putin attacked NATO, which means Putin just attacked us, which means we could be at war with Putin. Oh, but we won't because Trump is his slave. Hayseed says, I can see, but it's a blur. Well, I hope you get better eyesight. Can you get glasses? Hayseed says, no, I want to help people. I hate being in charge of anything, so power means nothing to me. Well, we can help people being in charge and not being in charge. There's all sorts of ways to help people. Let's all join together and help. Thanks for being here, by the way. You're helping my conversation be a lot nicer than general, because even though sometimes we argue, I'm getting along with you now, Hayseed, and I really appreciate that. Because I'm trying to be really extra nice to people, because it's been a tough day for people. Mark Shanko Young says, Jesus will save you. Yeah, Jesus will save you too. Jesus is from the goddess, though. Check out the Church of Judas. It replaces all patriarchy, Christianity, war, and Trumpism. Jesus is from the goddess. Bob the Violin One says, did anyone else feel that Charlie Kirk's face was too small for his head? It was. It was very much memed that Charlie Kirk had a tiny face and a giant head. Like his eyes and mouth were scaled down. They were. I think the memes may have actually scaled them down more to really draw on that and made it like cartoonishly, hilariously small. But yeah, hold on, I've got to just take a screenshot of you saying that if I can, because that was hilarious. I might have to shut the live down too, just because we've been live for a while. But that was a hilarious way to phrase it. Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything while we're here? Greenwich says, by the way, it wasn't about pronunciation. You actually said Hillary instead of Kamala. Oh. Sorry. Whoops. Freudian slip there. Hayseed, yeah, I don't agree with you. Oh, and thanks for being a green witch. My ex is actually a famous witch, and I'm a witch myself. I'm a fairy witch of the Oz tradition. Hayseed says, yeah, I don't agree with you for shit, but you all right. Well, thank you. We don't have to agree to get along, and that's the point. When we have to argue about all these terrible things, like should we make people slaves again or something like that, like that's going to make so many people mad, and we don't have to argue about that. We shouldn't even be considering those things, honestly. And and instead of having those conversations be like how we pick our next president, you should keep those kind of conversations to really private stuff instead of public stuff, or just not really, like I said, not really have them. I'm not trying to tell people what to talk about, but honestly, the whole batch of all the Republican stuff, to me, has always been, and it seems like it keeps getting worse, but it's always been really bad, like nothing good in it. So I think it's bad for us to have those ideas, or to have conversations based on those ideas being the focus, or I think it's bad. Like, for instance, somebody, Greenwich, I think, asked earlier, what if Jill Stein won? What if it was Bernie Sanders versus Jill Stein? What if that was the kind of question we were going to vote between Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein? And, you could maybe get, just what would be the issues there? Or what direction might the country go in if those were the two options we had? Instead of this whole Trumpy path. Anyway, I think we're going to prove, hopefully, we're going to prove to everybody all the evils of this Trumpy path real soon. The Charlie Kirk will be the turning point. And we thought the Epstein files were going to be the turning point. Trump obviously being, guilty in the Epstein files. We thought that him, not stopping wars and making them worse was going to be a turning point. But all three of these things together, and hopefully showing how close he is with Putin, that he's really just working with Putin to hurt us, all four of these things together, I think, will be a turning point and get people out of the Trumpiness. I body witches and warlocks. You speak what you reap. You don't agree with the shit, but you're all right. Thank you. Daniel Rodriguez says you speak what you reap. You spelled seek, S-E-A-K. Ghost Samurai 1925 said I body witches and warlocks. And Urban Wildlife says Charlie Kirk died because he had a body armor on. It deflected the bullet? Oh my gosh, that would be so ironic or crazy if it's true. Hayseed says, I'm redneck, so I pronounce everything wrong. Am I supposed to read your comments in redneck, or am I supposed to read your comments in Russian? I'm redneck, so I pronounce everything wrong. Or I'm redneck, so I pronounce everything wrong. Have you seen Thunderbolts? If you have Disney Plus or can watch Thunderbolts, it's really good. I love Thunderbolts. Such a good movie. It has a Russian character in it, is the reason I thought of that. Jaron Freeberg says, you reap what you sow. May God have mercy on you all. Thank you. Mercy. May the goddess have mercy on you too. H says, hello from Australia. Hello, Australia. Good day, mate. I'm old enough to have lived through the American Australia craze. So I still kind of love Australia, so thank you. Ghost Samurai 1925 says, Elon snitching was demon assist as well. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because Elon snitching, if you mean Elon snitching, referring to like Elon saying Trump's in the Epstein files. Well, the thing is, he said that on his way out of the White House, like in a fit of rage. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying, he just made this up because he was getting revenge or mad. No, it's true. It's totally true. But Elon doing that, it wasn't like he just was getting kicked out of the White House and he saw the Epstein files and read Trump all over. No, he knew that well in advance of getting kicked out of the White House. So Elon was fine with it. Or maybe he knows because he's in them too, and and people can point fingers or even say they want him to be released if they know they won't be released. That means, some of the Democrats that might be in it and may have, been putting pressure to keep him from being released before, just Bill Clinton or something, and his whole sway, his influence, his sphere of influence. They might be calling for them to be released now, knowing they're still not going to be released, but they can look that way. But I mean, of course, if enough people call for them to really be released, if any of the Republicans switched over, and some of them have, but we have to give credit to them and thank them for doing it. But when the Republicans switch over and call for the release, then they can actually make it happen, I believe. I mean, who knows what you can compel Trump to do? He wouldn't even give back all those files he took. Had to send the FBI, the team of KGB down there. Ghost Samurai, 1925. Oh, wait. Let me make sure I'm reading everybody. Yeah. Hayseed says, either way, I'm good with it. Either way, I'm good with it. Or he says, either way, I'm good with it. Ghost Samurai says, look at Elon in that Oval Office clip looking around trying to control the possession. Never You Mind says, we gave them an inch. They took a mile. Time to go home. Don't take your ball and go home. Thank you for talking with us. Ghost Samurai says, Elon's on the list. And he knows, yeah. The reason he knows Trump's on the list because they got on the list together, you know. But I've also heard recently Ivanka's on the list, or Ivanka was in what's his name Epstein's book, and my first suspicion was that Trump killed Charlie Kirk because he was asking for the Epstein files, and Trump was trying to send a message like Putin would do to say, "Look, I don't care how big a supporter you were, nobody questions me." That was what Putin would do, and Trump's just like that. I don't know what you mean by whenever your mind keeps talking about giving people inches and taking miles. I don't know what you mean. Because, first of all, you do know that the shooter of Charlie Kirk was a MAGA type, right? If you're talking about we gave Trump an inch and they took a mile, yeah, we shouldn't have ever given them an inch. Ghost Samurai says, that's the point. That's irrational to do. But under possession, anything is possible. Wait, what was irrational to do? Hayseed says, how about every 4 years, random ass numbers spit out and they are president? That's like what Frank Baum would write about, the guy who wrote the Oz books. How about every 4 years, a random social security number is spit out and they are president? Ghost Samurai 1925 says, Peachtree City, Georgia, covenant of witches and warlocks was a thing until they met me, Lord Beelzebub. Weird. Peachtree City, Georgia, covenant of witches and warlocks. Why? What do you mean it was a thing until they met you? That sounds like a good thing. They have a good name and everything. Peachtree City, covenant of witches and warlocks. Anyway, I'm a witch myself, and if there are any Trump types, MAGA types, I will gladly extract the curses from you guys and throw them back at Putin. I'll extract the curses from any MAGA types in comments, or from anybody, and throw them back at Netanyahu. I'll extract the curses from anybody in comments and throw them back at Trump. Funny Shorts. Oh, welcome, hashtag Funny Shorts. Funny Short says, on Halloween, he rode Trump like a horse. That doesn't make him a Trump hater, quite the opposite. On Halloween, he rode Trump like a horse. Okay, so they were saying that he wore a Trump costume on Halloween. We're talking about the shooter, Tyler Robinson. I'm going to have to shut the live down, but I'll come back again if you guys want to talk some more. He rode Trump like a horse. Well, the nature of the ooh-woo bullet inscription stuff, to me, makes him seem like a troll. Like, he's trolling, like he's, again, right-wing. Like, the left doesn't troll. We don't have anything to troll about. Like, our ideas that we actually believe in can troll people enough, or upsetting enough to people, or controversial enough to people. But they're things we actually believe in, just because they're actually, counterculture. They're actually against the system that we've been in. And Charlie Kirk tries to twist it around and say, you'd be rebellious to be, promoting fascism. No, the fascism is always the authoritarian system. It's always what you should be rebelling against. So this guy, he might have been some type of troll. He seems like, even his grandma was trying to insist how safely Republican everybody in their entire family was, or something. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's true, and maybe he was sick of all that, but that's still part of it. That's why I was saying, even if Trump didn't hire this guy, if he really did it, even if Trump didn't hire him, Trump is responsible for the conditions that led to this, for sure. They removed their web information. Who removed their web information? Oh, the witches? What, they just... Again, don't people have websites so people can find them? I don't understand. Do you have something against the witches? And get over it. Were they bad or something? Hayseed says, here's a curse for you. May you always have cows to feed. That's like a blessing curse, huh? May you always have cows to feed. Where's that curse come from? Are you from the South, Hayseed? I'm from Georgia myself. Wouldn't that be funny if we were just like relatives or something, and then we end up traveling to Scotland together because we find out we're long-lost relatives? Like, hey, it's you. And you're like, hey, it's you. Anyway, I should shut down the live, and I'll come back and talk to you guys some more if you want. This was a pretty good live, because even if I did have the MAGA Trump Mutineer types, I didn't get all mad, and they didn't get all frenzied, and that's what I want. I want people to calm down and come back together, because we've been divided too long and too much. Yeah, Kirk was murdered by his own people, by MAGA types. John, John Fire Sound says Kirk murdered by his own people, murked by his own people, which he was. And again, I feel bad for you guys. As much as, I'm kind of more on the let's bake a cake side of things. I feel bad for you guys having somebody you cared about get murdered and then just spending a whole day having other people you care about telling you to be angry and then having, being disillusioned in who you're supposed to be angry at with the left and realizing it's yourself or it's one of you or something. And I want you to realize, hey, look, it's a bigger world out there and people really do care and want you to, maybe reconsider some of these things and come back to all of us, to this American thing where we're all together and we all like love each other and we love immigrants too. Like, it's not that hard to just get over racism and, just accept people better. Okay, Hayseed says, I'm in Upper East Tennessee. I'll sub. Thanks. I've been there before. I've been through there before. Isn't that where Bonnaroo is? Or Upper East Tennessee. I've been through there before too, I think. But I'm from Georgia, from Athens. So you know GBI. Sounds familiar, but I don't know exactly. Georgia Bureau of Investigation, I think. Yeah, John Fire Sounds says, preach, bro. Thank you, John Fire. Thank you for the likes. I assume you're the one who gave me some likes. Hayseed says, when you're chasing cows, 3 in the morning, it's not a blessing. That's funny about the cows. The blessing is may you always have cows to feed. Or the curse is may you always have cows to feed. Okay, so I need to shut down the live so I don't go over an hour. Because they've been taking really long to load up. It's crazy. Like days. They've been taking days to load up. But I really appreciate y'all talking with me. I might just take a short break and come back. Especially John Fire Sound and anybody is welcome to comment on my content. I have a lot of content. So you're welcome to comment on anything you want. Be glad to talk to you more on the content side of things. Georgia Bureau Investigation agent shit himself, crying, begging for help while calling me Satan. Whoa. Well, Ghost Samurai has got some real Beelzebub credits. Andrew Chapoy says, blessings and greetings from Pennsylvania. Blessings and greetings from Colorado. I'm currently in Colorado. There's Russian stuff that I don't understand. Hayseed says, if you can't take it easy, take it greasy. If you can't take it easy, take it greasy. If you can't take it easy, take it greasy. When you're chasing cows at 3 in the morning, it's not a blessing. When you're chasing cows at 3 in the morning, it's not a blessing. Here's a curse for you. May you always have cows to feed. Here's a curse for you. May you always have cows to feed. All right, thank you, everyone. And thanks, Hayseed. You've been fun to talk to. Let's be friends, okay? Let's get over all this animosity, because I didn't want animosity between any Americans or between Americans and any wannabe Americans, immigrants, or whatever you want to call them. I think we're all Americans. I think anybody who wants to be an American should be able to call themselves an American and like have citizenship. I think we should just change the way we think about stuff and open things up for everybody. Set a new standard. Be like, hey, do you guys want to be Americans? Even over there where you live, be Americans. Just call yourselves Americans, and now you are. And just set a whole new thing and see if we can get like a billion people to get like everybody to be Americans. That would be cool to me. I think it'd be fun. Get like half the world or, a billion people to be Americans. Something fun like that. Anyway, not as like a flex or anything, but just for fun. I think we could get rid of countries altogether. Just maybe keep them for the Olympics. Stuff like that for like teams and stuff. But anyway, see you guys soon. Thanks for being here. And I'm sorry for all the stuff everybody's been going through, but let's be friends. Let's all get along. Let's be calm and love each other. And talk. Let's talk some more. See you when you get back. Ghost Samurai says, humans, more to come. Natasha says, hi. Hi, Natasha. I wish I could talk to you more. But I got to shut down the live real soon so it doesn't go over an hour. But come back. Subscribe. Come back or comment on my content. We'll talk more there.